we're making a quick video. We wanted to talk to you guys about some of the things that we believe you should know before you move to Ghana. This is our opinion. Everybody's journey is different. So yeah, this is just coming from the Parks family, okay?
Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is when you come to Ghana, a lot of people have asked us, what do you do for a living? Do you have a job? And our number one answer is, we don't work. Not for anyone anyway. We work for ourselves. We actually have my wife's first business, Reconnected One, so check it out.
Etsy.
We also have my legal fees, legal drafting, contracting that we do on the side, and then we also do our blogging thing. So that's what we're doing while we're in Ghana and exploring the continent. That's what we're going to be doing for ourselves. But don't come to Ghana attempting to work for anyone.
Negative. Which, I mean, truth be told, we really shouldn't be attempting to move to Africa trying to work for anybody. We should try to create jobs. I think that we have a lot of knowledge and a lot of skills that we can bring here and benefit the continent by working together cohesively with our brothers and sisters here that are already on the continent.
And I mean, that's what they want anyway, because when you come to Ghana, what you will find is that the Ghanaians have a lot of opinions about what they think their country needs as far as business, as far as resources that the government is not providing. Right. And we'll get more into those type of things when we start talking about business opportunities. But come here with the mindset to create jobs, because they have a high unemployment rate here. And even if you can get a job outside of teaching, you are going to get a lower wage, and you're not going to be able to support yourself here. Yeah. And that's not coming from us, that's coming from people that we talk to who actually live here. Yeah. So don't come here with the expectation or the mind frame that I'm going to work for someone like we did back in the States. Come back here thinking I'm going to create jobs and opportunities for my brothers and sisters, as well as income for myself.
Yeah, and I actually don't think that we've met a repat yet that doesn't work for him or herself. I think most of them actually are entrepreneurs, unless they're in education. So, and even with that, I think, you know, the pay might not be enough for you to sustain a life here.
Okay, moving on to point number 2, the electricity. It goes out.
A lot.
And when we say a lot, we understand that it's a lot better than it was a few years ago, and it's progressively getting better. From my understanding, the government is trying to work on creating a better grid or more alternatives or whatever, but they're not there yet. Yeah. And we spend a lot of time here sitting around with no lights, no AC, no hot water heater, none of that stuff. And so you got to be prepared for it when you come here.
Right. And just like, you know, to clarify real quickly, we are in the greater Accra region, okay? So that means we're speaking right now on the behalf of living in the greater Accra region and Accra, because we know a lot of people who live in other areas in Accra who also experience problems with electricity. Now when it comes to other regions in the entire country, we can't really speak on that because we don't know. But from what we understand, talking to locals here in this area, there are still issues, I mean, with electricity. So if you know anybody who lives in any other region, I would say reach out to them, or you know, once we travel the country a little bit more, maybe we can get you some more information on that.
Okay, so when you come here, look for one or two things. Look for an apartment or a house or whatever you plan on renting with solar.
Yeah, if they have it.
If they have it. If you can find it. You're going to pay for it, but if you can find it, look for solar panels so you won't have the electricity problems, or look for a generator.
So when you're actually looking for a home here in Ghana, there's some things that you need to really think about, okay? And you need to budget for it. One of those things would be appliances. They typically don't come with homes or apartments here in Accra. We don't know about the other regions, but here in Accra, they typically don't come with them, so you have to budget for that and allow time to look for appliances that suit your needs. So that's something that you have to think about. In addition to that, agency fees. So that's another thing. Before you even get a place, you have to think about, how am I going to find a place? When it comes to looking for a place here in Accra, you can go through an agency, but just know that you're going to pay agent fees. And not only are you going to pay the agent fees, but you're also going to have to pay a fee every time you go out to look for a place. So that's something else you need to budget for.
Okay, so when we're talking about ranges of prices when it comes to looking for apartments in the greater Accra region, they range from very inexpensive to very expensive, depending on what area you stay in. We've talked to people and we've seen people rent places for as little as about $250 a month. And we also know, and we experienced it, you can also get charged up to $3,000 US dollars. US dollars.
US dollars.
So when we heard that, it kind of gave us a shock because we didn't think things were that expensive here in Accra or Ghana as a whole. But we'll check out the rest of the regions, but that's specifically in certain areas within Accra. So be prepared if you want all those amenities, the generator, the solar panel, the air condition, all those things, they come with a price. So you could be paying, way more than you were paying in the States if you're not careful.
So another thing that you guys need to really think about too and budget for before you move here is that typically in Accra, and probably the rest of Ghana, the rent is due up front and it's 1 to 2 years in advance. So you need to really think about having that type of money up front that you have to give out at one time. And that's on top of the agency fees, paying for whatever appliances that you need, bringing your place up to par if it isn't up to par, and rent. So you have to really keep those things in mind because that could be a lot of money up front as soon as you get here. So budget for that.
And you have to think about that. I heard someone say $5,000 to $10,000 would be a good start to come and get yourself settled here in Ghana. That might not necessarily be the case if you have to shell out so much money up front. So budget. Sit down, think about how much it is that you can come here with because giving out rent and getting your place might take up a big chunk of your money.
Yeah, once you get a place, you actually can do a lot of the things that you want to do because I'm going to be honest with you, you're going to own it. That's how things work here. When you rent a place, it's yours. So landlords don't do anything, okay, unless it's negotiated. So as far as generators and solar panels, you can actually buy those things for the place that you're renting, especially if it's a house. So that's something to keep in mind, but that would be a cost that you would have to incur.
And just to clarify, when she says you own it, they're going to act like you own it,
right?
But you don't own it. So you don't own anything.
Really,
it's not your house, but you're going to be acting like it's your house because you're going to do all of the repairs. You're going to do if things break, if the light bulb goes out, the sink breaks, you're going to be doing the plumbing or you're going to be calling somebody to come get it fixed and you're going to be paying CD out of your pocket to pay for it. Right. So just keep that in mind.
Okay, so another thing you should really think about when it comes to living in Accra, transportation. Okay, accessibility. It's here. Okay, you can catch the local transportation. The cheapest way to go is the Trotro, which is kind of like a van situation. It's not like commercial vans, but like a van that they kind of pack with people and they'll take you to your destination. So that's the cheapest way to go, right, man?
Yeah, that's the cheapest way. I mean, you can catch a ride depending on where you're going from. For as little as about $1.60 CD, and ranging up to a different amount depending on how far you gotta go. Right. But it's really cheap. I think we went from our location all the way across town and back for as little as about 28 CD, which if you convert that, that's about $7.
No, so not too bad.
It's cheap.
Right. Okay, so some things to keep in mind when you're riding a Trotro. The Trotro, it gets really cramped, especially during like rush hour times.
Yes.
Going from where we are into like downtown Accra, we usually don't leave till probably around like 10 o'clock because it's crazy. So you will be squished. It's hot. People sweating on you.
Sticky.
It's sticky. It's
people
crazy. I'm just saying, like everybody ain't about that life.
They must okay.
So hey.
No, people are musty. Let's just be real.
Let's just say you might not be about that life. And also, the Trotros have main stops. When they get to those stops, what they do is they'll sit there until the Trotro fills up, right? So then they take off. Like every seat has to be filled typically before they take off. So if you're in a rush, don't take the Cho-Cho.
No.
Because you're not gonna get there on time. It's just what it is. So just keep that in mind.
Exactly. Another thing you might want to keep in mind when you're taking the Cho-Cho is if you have kids. Before we came to Ghana, before we moved here permanently, we came to visit in 2015. DJ's favorite form of transportation was the Cho-Cho. We came back to live. DJ don't like the Cho-Cho anymore. Because he always says, why do I have to sit in someone's lap? They have to sit in your lap in order for you not to have to pay for one. But on top of that, they're swished. They're trying to take up as many seats.
Because the seats are really, really close.
Yeah, they're trying to fill as many seats as possible. So people might be sitting all on you like this, and you know your people can't move, your kids can't move, and we only have one. So think about if you have more than one, it can become quite a hassle.
Don't do it. Please don't do it.
Don't come here knowing that if you want to take the Cho-Cho and you have kids, it can be very stressful. So prepare for that. But it is the cheapest form and the most convenient form as far as getting around.
Yeah.
Because it goes everywhere.
So the next thing you can do, if you don't want to take the Cho-Cho, you're just not about that life.
But we're not.
You can take a taxi. Now, the taxis are really, I think they're more accessible to me. This is my opinion, and probably the Cho-Chos.
Yeah.
Typically, the Cho-Chos are on the main streets. So if you're in a neighborhood and you're deeper in the neighborhood and you have to get to the main street, you're probably gonna take a taxi anyway, or you're gonna walk. So where we are right now, we are a little bit further into the neighborhood. So we typically take a taxi to the street and then get on a Cho-Cho, and a Cho-Cho where we go. So taxis, they range as well. It depends on where you're going. Most times, they'll get you where you have to go faster because they drive crazy and they drive really fast, which is, I mean,
they don't stop. They
it's
don't
a good
stop
thing, it's
trying
a
to
bad
recruit
thing.
people. Yeah.
Right, and they don't stop. Obviously, they're not trying to recruit anybody. So I think that's the fastest way to get where you're going. So I would suggest probably taking a taxi.
And as we've learned, when you're trying to take a taxi, it's good to know at least a bit of tweet. That way you
Tree, baby, tree.
whatever. It's good to know a bit of tweet or tweet. Whatever, you guys get it. But
Y'all know what it is.
It's good to know a little bit because then you can probably try to negotiate with the driver.
Yeah.
They tend to negotiate with locals more so than us Africans who are returning home. But because they know we might have a little bit more money, and so they try to stick to their prices. So don't get frustrated with them. It's just the way it is. And in the States, sometimes you really don't negotiate your taxi prices there.
You don't negotiate nothing in the States,
so
let's be real.
don't come here trying to negotiate with these individuals who are giving you rides. Just give them their fare, but also know they will try to cheat you sometimes.
Yeah, so I mean, truth be told, it's good to know either like how much things typically cost, like or distance wise, because then you'll know that's way too much, you know what I mean? Or like, oh, okay, that's a good price. So you probably need to ask around, like ask the local, how much should I be paying to go from East Legon to Osu, or something like that, and then they'll give you a price range, and then that can probably help you out when it comes to negotiating. All right.
Other way that you can get around, you can get yourself a private car.
A private car.
Meaning you can hire a driver or you can get your own vehicle. So one of the two.
Yeah, so if you get a private car, obviously this is somebody that you pay on a regular basis to come pick you up. I think for the most part the cars are typically like nicer, you know what I mean? So it's more of a luxury to me. I mean, I guess, right, we don't do it. We haven't done it since we've been here, and we don't plan to because it's pretty expensive. So if that's what you want to do, you can definitely do that, or you can get yourself a vehicle, which truth be told, we recommend.
Yes, we do recommend. A lot of people say we take the Cho-Cho for about a month or so, but like the Cho-Cho gets old pretty quick. The only time you probably really want to take it if you're going short distances, but having your own personal vehicle, you can probably get more accomplished in a day, and you can control how much money you put into your tank and things of that nature. So try to look into getting your own car if it's in your budget. It might save you a little bit of money on the back end.
Right.
Or one more thing, instead of getting a personal car, you can also work with a local taxi driver who you can call when you need to go places, and they will hook you up because you're creating a relationship whereby you are helping them and they are helping you, and therefore they give you better rates.
Yes, definitely create relationships with some taxi drivers. They will be your best friend. It's actually like having a personal car, like Della said.
Yeah.
I mean, you get their phone numbers, you know, if you like them and the vibe is right, before you get out to your destination, get their numbers, keep in touch with them, and then whenever you want to go somewhere, if they're in your area, then they'll pick you up and that'll be that. So, taxi drivers are your friends, most times.
Okay.
All right, so, Uber does exist in Ghana. Okay, it's fairly new, but it is here. The only thing about Uber here is that, well, one, it's new, so they're still kind of working out the kinks here, and two, you have to have reliable internet in order to use Uber. So just keep that in mind. Depending on where you are here in Accra, it might be a little bit harder to get an Uber. For most places, you know, if the internet is good and there's Ubers in your area, you'll be fine. So Uber is an option.
And you also want to think about, you should have a local number. So if you have a local number, they can call you on that local number when they're trying to find you, as opposed to calling you on your foreign number, which for most people like us who still have T-Mobile, when they call you, it's 20 cents a minute. And you're not trying to talk to someone in a different language and they don't understand where you at, and it's racking up charges. And you're like, you know what, just cancel it. Just cancel it. We don't need it.
We don't need it. You know?
So think about having a local SIM card so you can switch out, and therefore you can call, they can call you to make sure they can locate where you are.
Right. So the next thing is identification. So when it comes to being here in Accra, once again, we don't know how the other regions work, but in Accra, having identification here is a requirement. And when I say identification, I mean a Ghanaian ID or residency papers and also a residence card.
Okay, so what do you need that for? Well, we found out you need it for a couple of different things. If you want to register a business, you need to have ID. If you want to get internet, you need to have ID. And if you
internet, y'all, like you go into the place and you want to get internet,
yeah,
you have to have ID. And that is Ghanaian.
Yes. So I was shocked when they told me I needed a Ghanaian ID in order to have internet.
Yeah.
But you do need to have it, and we knew somebody, so we got internet.
Yeah, there's ways around that.
And then the third thing you need it for is if you're trying to open a bank account.
Yes.
So all of these lovely interest rates that they have, you can't access them if you don't have ID to open a bank account.
Right.
So just know that when you come here, you're going to have to either go down to the immigration office and put in for the papers, and that comes with a whole bunch of fees and things of that nature. But you're going to have to do that if you want to conduct business here.
Yeah. So just a little bit more clarity. There's the residency card and there's a Ghanaian ID. So the thing is, either you have, you know, your Ghanaian ID, however you go about getting that, or you have your residency card, and that's through filing your residency papers and things like that. So you can open a bank account here as a foreigner, but you have to have residency papers and a residency card to open that bank account. So that's just something to keep in mind.
Exactly.
Food. All right, y'all, let's talk about food. So, I really like Ghanaian food, but let me tell you, after eating it for weeks upon weeks upon weeks, you really get tired of tomato-based food, spicy food, and rice. Like, you kind of get tired of, and a heavy starch diet. Like, it's heavy on starches here. So you get tired of that after a while. But the good thing about it is that you can go to the market, get what you need to make whatever it is that your heart desires from scratch. That's right. When you move to Ghana, you might have to make a lot of food.
You're going to be cooking.
From scratch. You're going to be cooking.
And so you might want to get some recipes. Something that we didn't do before we came, and I'm just going to be honest, food was one of the biggest issues for me because I love to eat. So it was one of the biggest issues for me once we got here, because I was trying to figure out what are we going to eat, how are we going to eat, because a lot of things that we want, they don't sell, or they're not native to the country.
Yeah.
So you have to go to the actual supermarket to get it. And at the supermarket, that stuff is expensive.
Yeah.
Just think about it. A bag of cheese. A bag of cheese costs 199 cedis. I love cheese.
That's what, like $9?
It's No, that's like $40.
Whatever it is, grilled cheese sandwich ain't worth
It's
it.
a lot of money. It's a lot of money. And so I left the cheese at the store.
That's the cheese at the store.
So, you know, you just got to be careful about what it is that you're buying here because you see the price in CD and you think about it in US dollars, and then before you know it, you walked out of there and you spent $200 US because you bought all this stuff from the supermarket. Because you can go to the supermarket or you can go to the local market.
Yeah.
And you have to make that choice, or you might have a combination of both, which we do right now.
Yeah. So, like Dale said, we do a combination of both the local market and the supermarket. For just like fresh produce, beans, rice, those type of things, we go to the local market. Everything's there. Like, I mean, most of the fruit is there. Just about all the produce is there. And you can also find almost all your grains and beans and things like that. So that's what we go there for. Shopping market is more so for American type of things and meat. The only reason why we do not get our meat from the market, because you can, is more so for sanitation reasons. And I mean,
we don't want to get sick. I mean, let's just be real. We don't want to be sick.
That's about it. That is our opinion. Again, everybody's experiences will be different. Everybody's journey will be different. This is from the Parks family, and this is just coming from a personal perspective and a personal view since we've been here. I'm sure there will be more things coming your way, and you know, some things may change. So just stay tuned and just, you know, keep checking in on us because we have a lot coming your way. Okay, y'all? So thank you so much for tuning in. Peace. Blessings.
Have a great day.